Welcome to Planet Pluto Pseudo.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. Tango, tango, tango. What's happening? What's happening, good people? How you guys doing out there in the hair care world? Y'all know who it is, right? It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha Wright, aka Key Lolo with the serious head coat. I got all of my accoutrements. I got my water. I even got, check this out here, Savant. I use up so much tissue. I'm now down to toilet paper now. So it is official. I have the ickiest head coat on the planet. And then over here, you have the healthy, beautiful, the one and only Cheryl Morrow, aka the Hair Oracle. All right.
Feel better.
Affectionately to her by Hair Savant. I actually I feel like $1,000,000. I just don't like the congestion. I have to keep a cough drop. If I don't, then I'll be you know what I'm saying? But anywho, I'm here. I'm feeling great. So we are into I forgot what episode we're on here. But anywho, we're moving right along here on Planet Pluto Pseudo. So hopefully you guys are into your motherships and you are just all the way out into the ethers and you're getting ready to land over on Planet Pluto Pseudo. This is America's favorite podcast, specifically for us licensed cosmetologists, barbers, your hair natural specialists, and of course your hair aficionados, those who are just absolutely crazy and want to know everything about Afro hair. Then you are right here on Planet Pluto Pseudo, where our goal is one thing and one thing only. We want to debunk a lot of myths. We definitely understand that the world of beauty loves social media. They love to come over to these platforms and they want to get the real deal Holyfield because for some reason, they just don't want to go to cosmetology school anymore. And so we are encouraging you guys to not do that. There is something to be said about going someplace. I don't care where you go, but you have to go somewhere to learn, right? You have to be tested to make sure that you know what you're talking about. Okay. And of course, you want to be amongst your peers because everybody has something to bring to the table when it comes to learning and unlearning. So we don't know everything here on Planet Pluto Pseudo. It looked like we do with these glasses on, don't we, Cheryl? Us look so smart, you know. But you know what? We are licensed professionals and hair aficionados, just like everyone here on this channel. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. All questions and comments are welcome. Even if you don't like us, it's okay, right, Cheryl?
That's right. It's fine. We're good.
It's okay. It's okay if you're like, nah, I don't agree with shit y'all said. We like, you know what? Put it in the chat. Go ahead. It's all good. It's all good. All right.
Represent.
Oh, speaking of represent, y'all know who just dropped in, right? My boss. Come on, guys. When my boss drops in, we know what we got to do, right? We got to drop them L's in the chat because my boss knows. She said, I don't care if you got a cold or not. You better get your little redhead butt onto that podcast, Ladosha, and you better get it together. I keep telling y'all, that boss Lavina, she don't play out here. Y'all talk about these YouTube streets. Y'all better not get caught out there with my boss Lavina. That is my real live boss. This is not a joke. I know she's at home laughing. She's got that accent. Look those skirts, don't she?
Oh God,
she got the thickest accent. You know, people with the accent don't take no. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't got a verbal lashing till you had a person with the accent just rip you. Woo! I'm telling you, that boss Lavina, what she say? Come on now. Come on, look at her. Look where my boss is at. Hold on.
Oh,
At work. So my boss say, Ladosha, if I gotta work, guess what? You have to work too. So that's what it's all about here on Planet Pluto Pseudo. Again, it's just showing how much we love the world of work when it comes to hair. And so we have a wonderful podcast tonight, and it's all about Afro hair history. But this time we're gonna do it with a little twist. Typically, we do our reels. We talk about,
this and that.
this and this and that. But y'all know what? Tonight, us can't do that. We can't do that because what we have to do in relation to the topic of Afro hair history and its relevance to modern day hairstyling and all of the challenges that we're having is we're going to have to pay homage to someone who I know y'all like, how many times we got to say this? A lot. Because heaven has just gained another wonderful angel, another giant. The baton has been passed, and Cheryl and I, we remain very concerned about the Black beauty industry. And so we are talking about none other than, let me just bring this picture up here right quick. And if you don't know who this gentleman is, Cheryl is going to do a wonderful job of letting us know exactly who he is. But I think I have his picture right here. Here he is right here. Okay. So heaven has gained the angel of Dr. Joe Dudley Sr. And so this man and Cheryl's father definitely have a wonderful and very special relationship when it comes to pioneering, trailblazing, raising the bar, setting the example, thinking outside of the box. We could go on for days and days and days about the illustrious Dr. Joe Dudley Sr. And I'll bring up some images of his brand in case you guys are not aware. This is a family owned business out of North Carolina, and he is survived by children. I think he has a wife. So he was married for years. So he was definitely a pillar in his community of North Carolina.
Absolutely.
Of course, definitely a giant here in the beauty industry. Now, we're not just talking about North Carolina guys, right? We're talking about the world. Okay, he just ain't know every day, brother, just putting some products in the trunk of his car. This man, oh, good Lord, he has some Dudleyites like no other. I actually had a chance to go to one of his classes maybe 10 years ago. And I actually went to North Carolina, and maybe his educators, but they don't play, though. The women are like, woo, woo. If you ain't been educated by one of them Dudleys, I don't know if you are. I'm just saying, she was hard. They was into scalp hair loss, and they gave. I'm not trying to knock Deca Plus, but Dudleys give Deca Plus a run for their monies when it comes to that hair loss education. And I forgot the educator's name, but if you think Paul Mitchell and Nevada and all of them got some drones, you ain't seen nothing till you had a Dudley educator get up in front of you and teach you some of this Dudley knowledge. And I still got that protein. I got that protein at the salon to this day because that lady pounded it in my head about that protein. And so rest in power, Mr. Joe Dudley. We have to. This is really, 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 really. I know a lot of people are shocked. I was shocked too. Cheryl called me at work today to let me know. I see all of the hair distributors are, posting this. So I reposted it, onto my Facebook. I hadn't been on social media too much today because I was super busy in the hair salon. But when I get off, I'm flooding. I don't care nothing about them algorithms. Like, you gotta post at 10 o'clock. All the hell with that shit. I'm posting all Joe Dudley. But Cheryl, because a lot of people in the chat may not be aware of who Joe Dudley is. Now, mind you guys, we have to just put a little disclaimer out here. We do not represent the family, and we most certainly do not represent Dr. Joe Dudley Sr., but we are students of his, of course, fans, and of course, users of the hair care product line as professionals and as just everyday customers. It's kind of, I mean, if you're a black hairstylist and you ain't use no Dudleys, then you know what? You ain't doing no hair. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know how when Joe Biden was running for president last year, the year before, and she said, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black. Remember that? He was on the Breakfast Club, and they was like, oh my God. He said, yeah, I got a little bit too carried away. Well, I ain't getting too carried away. Right. If you are African American hairstylist and you have not used any of Dudley's, anything by Dr. Willie Morrow, at some point in your career, I'm gonna tell you right now, you ain't popping no wigs, okay? Forget it. Take the title off. Throw it in the garbage. I don't care what color, what race, if you speak English or not. You need to know something, a little something. So without further ado, can you just share with us a little bit about Joe Dudley? And yeah, now it's a good time to go get you some. If you haven't bought any, please go get some. And I'm with you, Theo. It is a sad day for the hair industry. It's just no other way to say it. So sure, oh shoot, even Harrison Voss said, come on, y'all, please go get the oil sheen. You know, this product line is the bomb. We just trying to tell y'all, don't come on this chat, don't get off there. If you're on your motherships, you getting off, you got a little helmet on and shit, you know what I'm saying? Y'all better go and get some of this Mr. Dudley's, the Dudley product brand. But Cheryl, tell us a little bit about Mr. Dudley and give us a little rich history about Dr. Joe Dudley. So I do have some pictures. When you tell me, I have a couple of them. You give me permission, I'll show some.
Absolutely. Is it from the thumb drive that I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I got a whole bunch. I got to get Cheryl's permission because I can't be out here. You know what I'm saying?
Most don't know that Dr. Joseph Dudley was just he was different. He would always agitate Mr. Morrow and agitate him to the point where, you know, they had a relationship that was so healthy in terms of, I wouldn't say competition, but a good sort of healthy interaction in terms of pushing the industry forward. And because Mr. Morrow was probably he was so out there scientifically, but Joe would always bring him in to this kind of, well, Brother Morrow, bring it down to where it makes sense and we can create a business around it. You know, so Mr. Dudley truly had my attention in terms of always making sense. And I have enjoyed so many conversations with my other colleague, because our age, of course, Mr. Dudley was not our peer. And so, but just the lessons of business and how Mr. Dudley would have what would be in the classroom. In his classrooms, I would probably say the Dudley education, the Dudley University, was the most comprehensive, I believe, in history, because he did it so long and it was so important to the Dudley brand. But I never forget when he would switch gears, right? He would switch gears when he was talking about sales, right? Because Dudley was very sales heavy. It was notorious for teaching his distributors top sales performance and behavior. But I never forget, it was a classroom one time And the student raised his hands and he said, Mr. Dudley, we need you to get a little more prettier on the labels. You always, it's just always so bland with the blue and white, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Dudley looked at him and he said, if I'm going to do pretty labels, so why do I need you? So if I'm going to get pretty with it, I can just make it pretty and let it sit on the shelf. I don't need you. I need you. What I need you to do is get out in them streets and get our message across. And my other beautiful memory that they had the first real sales team that I saw at the Bronner Brothers show or any show, their sales team and distributor team and platform, whatever they were doing, they would always sing and march through the trade show floor before they got to their booth. And they would be in a line. They would be in blue and white uniforms. The women would be in skirts, and the men, the sales. It was just a whole incredible. He truly believed, and I don't know if you guys realize that Joe Dudley was the mentee of George Johnson, and who was the mentee of S.B. Fuller.
Wow.
And it's such a great, it gets pretty thick, and
we had a hairstylist here. Her name is Teresa McCurry. And she's also a minister. Oh my God, everybody loved Teresa. Okay. She and Miss B were Dudleyites, okay, and she had and she inherited, or I don't know if she inherited the hair salon or she bought a hair salon. It was called Innovations, and so she put her like her twist on this space that was Innovations. And when you walked in, when you talk about that blue Dudleys, it was just like you had just walked into like Dudley universe, and I was what the French toast and bologna sandwich is going on in this hair salon? And she was just like really very proud, very intelligent, and her customers, it was like when she talked, the customers automatically went like Vanna White, like I said,
highly trained.
Hey.
Absolutely. And that comes from that S.B. Fuller era.
Oh, and I mean, they
really
were, it wasn't, our examples might sound kind of gimmicky, but it really wasn't a gimmick because Dr. Dudley, first of all, he knew hair.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, he was definitely on the post of hair styling by the cosmetologist for the customer.
Absolutely.
So you kind of knew that was the difference between Dudley's and all of the other brands. But I just couldn't figure out. It was kind of like on its way out just a little bit because I was trying to get in, but they let me know, oh no, boo boo, you just don't. You got to go to the academy. And I was like, what you talking about, Willis? So you couldn't just perpetrate like you was down with Dudley's. They did not play that. So talk about that Dudley standard that a lot of companies don't have. Like you could just go online today, y'all could just buy stuff. But I'm telling y'all, back in the day, you could not just go on Amazon and buy no Dudley's. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm not trying to be funny.
All of them started out that way. All of them, but Dudley stayed true to the industry. These were
see, I didn't know
Mr.
that.
Dudley was
history. Now here we go. Go ahead.
Right. Mr. Dudley was very he understood that black hair care and the viability, the vein, the heartbeat, the brain of black hair care industry was wired through the professional and the salon. That make no bones about it. And I think that because of that S.B. Fuller influence and as it trickled down to John Johnson, and absolutely, and it trickled down to George Johnson, and then it trickled down to Joe Dudley, eventually Mr. Morrow. It was this regimen. See, they were the creative director of how fashion has a Coco Chanel or a a Karl Lagerfeld or a Yves Saint Laurent. You know what I mean? And that's just, they ran their companies according to their ethos and their belief system. And as you see, they were also like the Bronners, very centered on their faith. And so this is what kept those companies together. That was part of that 5 dynastic period of explosive.
So let me ask you this, because we have a lot of cosmetologists in the chat. We have barbers are definitely always chopping through. And then, like I said, we have our natural hair experts here. And then, of course, we have our hair aficionados. But now we're talking about, there was a time when Dudley's. Like I said, I don't know about y'all, but I definitely remember I could not just get that product. She wasn't just going to give it to me because I had my license. She made it abundantly clear that I had to be educated. Why do you think they had such high standards that the public couldn't get it? Because that was a complaint that customers had.
Mm-hmm.
Was that they couldn't get what you know what I'm saying? So how
Right.
are you able to balance out, what a customer want, what the cosmetologists have? And then you had Teresa. Teresa, I hope, I'm sure she's right here on Facebook. She is. I'm gonna go find her page. And she will tell you, no, I would not just give that to Ladosha. She let me look at it and talk to me about it, but encouraged me to get that education. So just kind of talk about having that high standard against the backdrop of, well, if the customers can, you know what I'm saying? Like, how was he able to?
It's an old model. It's a pharmaceutical model. It's a pharmaceutical model. You want to get the company that invests in teaching you something and educating you is making an investment in your future, because they want you to not only sell first generation to the initial purchaser of Dudley, they want you to do it for a generation, right? They don't want you to just use it for that. Now, and as forethinking as Mr. Dudley was, and based on how he was trained, you want the generational sale. You want to have the generational wealth also trickle back to you, because you want to bank on them using it for 10 to 15 to 20 to 25 years. And so that is that was the level of commitment they needed from you. And that is why the education in the Dudley University kind of interwoven into their brand message, that don't be out here using something and you don't know, because they wanted to make sure that they invested into your education. It was, innovative at that time to see so many African American sales. Come on, because everybody always say they talking about they ain't comfortable, because you could not say that to Mr. Dudley. How uncomfortable you were and all of this crazy.
Right. So with that being said, that he had the standard, right? And then your dad had the standard, and you look at a McBride, because you're saying that, which I didn't even know, that pretty much all the companies had this pharmaceutical sales model. Now I have a picture with you and with your dad and Dr. Joe Dudley. Can I share that now?
Sure.
Because I want you to talk about how was they able to share the pharmaceutical, sales style and but competition, but still, work it out together. Because I don't know, Harrison Vaughn. I don't know. We can share the same stage. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find a picture here. I'm a little bit player, hey, you know what I'm saying? So here we go, right here. All right. All right. So there you go. This is your dad here with the beige suit. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's your distinguished, illustrious Dr. Joe Dudley. I don't know who the other people
Oh,
are, but
the other one I think are Summit, Luster Silk maybe, and then you got
mm,
Jerry White of Kazuri in the middle, which I had just mentioned his name today. Those are the
is that
lucky.
with the white shirt on?
Yes, that's in the middle.
Okay.
The two other
Okay.
gentlemen are Summit, I think Luster Silk, and then you have Joe Dudley there with the dark suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so they were friends, they were colleagues, they were not. Those are some of the giants of that built the industry. Um, right there in together. They're smiling. They're colleagues. They're not. They were not. These were statesmen. These were gentlemen. Not no. At one point were we fighting on the trade show floor. It was utterly ridiculous. These are men of faith. These are men. These are businessmen and building businesses. They appreciated Mr. Morrow in terms of his innovative mind and in creating,
They
you know,
kind of look like presidents, if you ask me. I know we don't see that much anymore, but
these were why they were obviously this was approximately could be about 1993, 1994. But these are the most wonderful. I mean, they were always so nice to our family, and vice versa. And if they needed anything, they would help each other. I mean, just the most unbelievable era that I
so,
have.
so you are saying to us here right now that your dad and Dr. Joe Dudley Sr. and a host of others
And even
were
if they
very,
argued, because I do remember one, but it was a healthy dialogue.
but you're saying that this was like a deliberate attempt. I mean, I'm sorry, a deliberate collaborative effort to serve Black
A greater,
healthcare
absolutely,
professionals and the consumer. So they
absolutely.
were very on purpose.
Oh,
Wow, that's some serious. That's
absolutely.
some serious strategizing. You
And,
know,
in order to pull that off, and the only ones you're missing it there is John Johnson and George Johnson. You're missing great. There's some pictures in my collection of Philippe Bescone and John Atchison and Jim Williams and Art Dyson. All of them. There was never you ain't never heard no fights break out at no Bronner Brother. These were statesmen. They were gentlemen. Um, you could trust your children in the Bronner Brother show in that type of environment. It was always fun to me, you know.
okay.
Anyway,
All
but
right. So here is another picture. Let me just show this one here. Now um again you have some other
you can see the energy
mhm.
of these particular men. They were not; these were not pissed off and didn't speak. Oh no, it was almost like a family reunion when we did finally come to Bronner Brother every summer, and the winter show was created for obviously the Afro, and so we look forward to coming. I mean, it
Mm,
was highly attended by celebrities, and celebrities at that time were just like divas. You know what I mean?
right,
Or
right, 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 right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? They weren't
Uh-huh.
really influencers at this time, but Mr. Dudley was just so he was. I remember he's a funny man, too. Always making secret jokes. He always had these, kind of sayings, just
Mhm.
real of a probably the character in the whole group, the talkative.
Mhm.
Besides my dad, just always talking. Yeah,
Right.
always wanting to
So
teach.
can you speak to just a little bit? Because I do have some other clips here that we're gonna as we move
I
into
think
the
there's a
topic
picture.
of.
I think there's a picture in that group that you have there. But I think it's just me and his daughter. His daughter could be a little older than us, maybe by 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she's younger, but there is a picture with my Uncle Dudley, because we
Mm-hmm.
were all kids growing up in that era. So uh,
So
it's
now
kind of
since we.
like a hit
Mm-hmm.
to my gut, because you
Mm-hmm.
won't see him again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So again, I'm in agreement with Rashida. Rest easy, Dr. Dudley. We're trying so hard to do your legacy and Dr. Willie Morrow's legacy some justice here. So with that being said, can you just speak to, because we have again right here on Planet Pluto Pseudo, this particular platform is for your licensed professionals. Why not why, how were they able to stay on the pulse of what hairstylist was looking for? I think one of the concerns that we as cosmetologists have now is that these companies, they just, they don't love these hoes. You know what I'm saying? They don't love us. They don't love us. They just be using us, and they don't have no
That's the
respect.
last era of the professional
Yeah,
uh,
but how how
only
how
group.
how was it Dudley's? And I'm gonna show. Let me just show some of his products because some people may be like, I don't think I even know what Dudley's look like. So I'm gonna share my screen and
Really?
because some people don't. So with that being said, so here's some. This is actually their website. So how was this gentleman able to be on the pulse of not only the consumers, but all these dang on cosmetologists? This is a massive hair care line, a collection.
Hmm.
How do you think he was able to measure? I mean, stay on the pulse of what the hairstylists need to serve these customers. That was such a large myriad of hair care problems and so on and so forth.
To me, the question is that these men and women were able to also become multimillionaires and not even cross each other. There was so much money to be made that the lack or what they saw as a complete euphoria and a multitude of so many opportunities that they didn't need to be mad at each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that is when you came to on these trade show floors more than Bronner Brother, because it was such a controlled environment, not as big as the international show at the Jacob Javits in New York City, or you know what I mean, or the Long Beach Hairdressers Guild, or even IBS, the BBSI in Las Vegas. But he made sure, and Luster, and even McBride, and things of that nature, they just communicated with the hairstylists. They had the baddest platform artists at that time,
Mm, mm,
to the point where it was just different. The platform artists, they were educators. They're a little different now to the point where they have to have the pressure of followers. The
mm.
followers in this era belong to the company, not belong to the actual stylist, if that makes sense. See, the
Mm.
company is not depending on you know what I'm saying? They're not
I
depending
got you.
on the platform artist per se to bring anything to the table but their brain.
So they really, really listened
Right. Very
to
much so.
what the stylist needs were. So they were able to go back to the lab, no pun
Right.
intended,
Absolutely.
and begin to
Absolutely.
cultivate
They did right.
various
And
lines of hair care. So today we see a big jump. They
yes.
skip over the cosmetologist and they go straight to the consumer, and then they come back to us and they ask us, "Can you sell this?" And we like, "Hell to the no,
No, no. There, there,
no, no,
there is
no."
no loyalty. There is no relationship anymore because the manufacturer now is someone in their kitchen. So there
Oh.
is no relationship. It's almost like the industry has. It's almost like there's hairstylists, barber stylists, right there, and then natural hair care, and natural hair care is still trying to be celebrated by white companies so they can get their products on shelves. It's that world that's over there. And black hair care, the legacy in all of that is still a little married into the barber stylist and hairstylist. And the salon environment, I think it's on the rise and it's coming back. And I think that at this point, with the Afro Hair Science Summit, and then what we're doing with BCPA and the Brother and Brother this year in terms of homecoming, I think that it's going to behoove us to really get down to business.
Well, just because I knew you was probably going to mention the Bronner Brothers Hair Show, which, by the way, if you have not got your tickets, Cheryl and I were definitely highly recommending that you guys get your tickets. And here's what we're looking at: it's homecoming. And what they're asking everybody to do is come on back home to the Bronner Brothers Beauty Show. Cheryl and I were going to be there in partnership with the Beauty Care Professionals of America. And of course, they want you guys to become members. And if you're a student or a customer or a licensed cosmetologist, then this is the organization for you, as they too are trying to keep the legacy and the history of Black beauty entrepreneurs alive and on the pulse of where we're at today and where we was yesterday, so that we can move forward until into tomorrow. So with that being said, Cheryl, how in the ham sandwich and French toast are we going to be able to move into the future of hair care when you have a new movement called the natural hair movement that's very focused on the culture? And this is where the history, to me, as we talk about this in this podcast, we're definitely recognizing the late great, Dr. Joe Dudley Sr. But we just need to talk about how is it possible for us to be able to move the industry forward when a very, very, very huge and large portion of the industry is really stuck on the culture versus that money. So I got a clip that I'm going to play before you address it, and this clip is it's a voiceover of one of the world's famous African American historians. His name is Dr. John Henry Clark. I will drop the actual video to this in the link. So I kind of spliced and diced it, and it looks like he was talking about the beauty industry, but y'all know he wasn't, okay? Because Dr. John Henry Clark can't care nothing about no damn healthcare industry. But anywho, he had better things to talk about than what we said. But it's new, all the stuff we could do nowadays. So I kind of spiced it up, okay? So we're gonna talk about we went back. Now here we are today. The beauty industry is saying the hell with the money. It's all about the culture. And here is what Dr. John Henry Clark had to say about that. Okay, so here we go. Black beauty with no power. Here we go.
Africa is the largest geographic reserve in all the world. What made these people think that they're going to make a whole world social order without consulting any one of us? Because you are black and beautiful, and you cannot command the situation or world attention or enter The councils of the world will determine the future of man until you're black and powerful. Then you're going to have to use yourself in an entirely different way. You're going to have to stop copping out into the soft sciences and go into the hard sciences.
All right.
Hard sciences.
Sounds like a little bit of Cheryl Morrow. Now we're talking about, he probably gave that lecture probably in the 80s, I'm sure. So he's saying the same stuff that you're saying. But that's very hard when you got Black Lives Matter, Black Hair Matter, Black something matters, and they want that culture, and you got that money. You in the backdrop of a Dr. Joe Dudley and a Dr. Willie Morrow. How can we help us? How we gonna move this needle, Cheryl? Because it's all about the power now. It's all about that Black culture. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna start at something you addressed a couple of weeks ago, and that's unbothered hair. And for us, after maybe 23, 24 years of the natural movement, right? And how it became so anti-establishment, right? Cosmetology and barbering, the education portion of it, right? And that is what John Henry Clark was talking about, focusing on soft science at the brunt of hard science. And the natural hair care movement today deals with those soft sciences because we're so polarized, because the natural hair care movement that is responding, and why they focus on culture, and I think I mentioned this before, it is such a microaggression. It's a byproduct of being angry. It's a byproduct of being disenfranchised.
No, now hold on. Hold on.
Let me just say this. That's one of the reasons why it birthed the Crown Act.
Cheryl.
That's why it birthed the Crown Act.
The knockoff jewelry.
Because it only dealt with the soft science of protective hairstyling. See, it's so soft that it doesn't address hard science because it doesn't solve the problem. It just kind of moves it parallel to actually, or adjacent to, what our problem really is.
And that is
our problem is, at the end of the day, what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came to the conclusion at the end of his life. Our problems are economic in nature, not cultural in nature.
You better shut the
social in nature. They're not, those are soft. And the powerlessness within us collectively, not individually, because you have a Dr. Brown and a Joe Dudley and an S.B. Fuller and a John Johnson, George Johnson, and an Annie Malone, and you have the individuality. The approach of the soft is that soft collective congruence, because it's not a strong muscle that we practice often. So if we do go collective, it's soft. Like, it doesn't address anything. It's only a microaggression to George Floyd. So when they say, can you see us over here, our Black founders? They don't understand that Black founders is in your legacy. And it was already entombed and engroomed and grounded and rooted for you to. But instead of doing that, we went soft. And I think that is us because of intellectual laziness.
Well, Sherion Smith says, he feels you, but why can't the platform stylists, meaning the people who are up front, why can't they control what you're talking about by consolidating? Maybe if those particular cosmetologists and who are up front and they're at the center, could they do some of what you're saying, offset that microaggression response to the,
Well, here's the thing. if you're microaggressive or passive aggressive, then you're only going to deal with people wanting to like you in the HR level, but you're not going to deal with the Supreme Court. So you're not going to deal with the Constitution.
Okay, well,
Constitution is the hard approach, which means that you want to actually solve your problem. However, but the platform artists could consolidate, but you can't consolidate when you're polarized. Some of us are locked into the manufacturing world and can't talk because we're worried about our job and our money.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you have salon suites, and then you have the natural hair care industry, and then you have the legacy in people as the Dudley daughter or the Gardners or anyone else that are trying to make sure that we maintain the commitment to the professional use only.
Well, Theo says that platform, I'm not quite sure what you mean by this, Theo, but he says platform artists have levels. So would that play a role into what? Because I'm kind of feeling like I do feel like those platform artists could, because they're the squeaky wheel that gets the attention. So if they do something, I mean,
but the platform artists are working. And they're exploited. They're working. So when they got to go back home and work like a dog, just like everybody else, they're not getting, and there's no benefit to it unless the hired manufacturer that hired them in the first place is the kind of family and consolidation that actually pours into the very thing that they're up there doing. So let's just put it this way. A platform artist for a Sally is not the same platform artist for a Dudley.
And
that's not the same platform artist. Okay. And so platform artist is also it's a job. It may look like, and you're supposed to be educating, but there is no other place. Once they leave that show and they got them finest on, and they got them fabulous clothes on, and they get up there and work, they break they back for those companies. They go home to their salons and they're merely.
Well, you're busting the bubble of all the hairstylists. You and Theo, y'all just killing us little. I was always aspiring to be a platform artist, but I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is Planet Pluto Pseudo. And if you guys like
platform artist that Mr. Morrow had also had a stake, which was the Dr. Jackie D was what he was trying to say and what we're trying to develop in his vision for Black beauty care professionals of America. That's his Gene Atkinson. I mean, the one of the greatest stylists ever and hair cutters ever had stake and creative direction in the way California Curl or Jaji or the Willie Morrow signature line or the Ocean, how that appealed to the hairstylists on the street level, regionally, nationally, and then ultimately international. She just wasn't on stage in a weekend in the show circuit. That's how they are now, and these companies are using the platform artists' followers and subbies. That was not. Let me put it this way. Doris Mosley, another bad, legendary hairstylist. Okay, could Marcel a hair on a tennis ball. Okay, she was that bad. She still had a stake in it. She had a stake in Dudley. She came from Dudley. And so that they're just not the same congruent in consolidation as Mr. Smith was talking about.
Well, with that being said, it is now time to help change the narrative. That's a whole nother podcast. So we can see in part, we almost an hour in. We got a couple of moments before we're an hour in, and we need you guys to help change the narrative about the power of a platform artist by doing this.
Pump me on, pump me on.
Man, I'm over here. I'm about to take this water and turn it into some dang on a shot of tequila or something. Y'all done killed my little So you guys just put a whole other twist on the platform artists, because again we're talking about the very important role that Afro hair history plays in contributing to the future of the Black beauty industry. But when we're kind of stuck on culture, and now you're saying that being stuck on culture is kind of pacifying our emotional, backlash to slavery and all this other stuff, that we're not really focusing on the issue at hand, which is getting that money. And so I was agreeing with Shan. I've been trying to say this all along, that maybe the platform artists would be the people who could use their people power or follower power, I don't know what you would call it, to help kind of garner the attention that's needed to help move this industry. But you and Theo, which I love, seasoned asses and bust our little bubble. So all of us licensed hairstylists are like, what's us gonna do? Us can't be no platform artists.
Well, shit. At the end of the day, what good is it? Because Monday through Friday, the shit. If you're not doing some shit for them, they don't give a shit about it how you eat.
Oh, come on, Cheryl. Theo, is this true? Theo, you better still be in this chat.
Your ass better be on that airplane.
Oh, come on.
And be at that hotel and be at that on that showroom floor Saturday, Sunday, Monday, baby. At the end of the day, they don't give a shit what happens to you from Tuesday through Friday.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I hate to show this, but I'm going to do it. Oh. Expectation and a platform artist is a setup. You know what? Y'all going to hair hell. Y'all better stop this now. Wait a minute now. Hold on now. We gonna digress just a little bit now. Oh, you know what? This is America's favorite podcast for licensed professionals. I can't even say it no more.
Me and Theo in the same city, and I didn't know what he was going to say.
But just now, hold on now. Let me just calm down. Let me take a drink. Wait a minute. Hold on, this from real. Hold on. Wait a minute now. Hold on, y'all. I can't even think straight, because it's a lot of licensed professionals who are aspiring to become a platform artist so that they can make a difference in the industry, maybe by not what we're talking about. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. Girl, y'all taking it too deep. But you guys are saying something, and we're just going to digress just a little bit, y'all. But it's licensed people in the chat, so we got to do. But you guys are saying something totally different about really what platform artists are really about from a company's perspective compared to what we think. Because I know I was dreaming of being a platform artist, but I had children, so I couldn't travel that much, and now I'm too old. But secretly, I think everybody, it's kind of like the little gold man. I mean, everybody wants to be, to me, and then Theo's in the chat saying that this is why he resigned from being a platform artist. So
it's work. It's hard work. And then you get to, then you talk to one little person at the company, and then of course, and people love to put that shit on their resume. They used to do this, and they're the educational director for this and all of this other craziness. They work your ass like a dog. And let me just say this. I'm a manufacturer. I get it and all of that. However, the platform artists that I was trained under, and what from my perspective, Mr. Morrow, they've had a stake in the profit. And they were
Wait a minute. Hold on. What you talking about, Willis? You said the platform artists had stake in the profit?
The platform artists and technicians that work for Mr. Morrow, they worked for Mr. Morrow a while. They weren't just so, and right. Mr. Morrow got them. You had to sit down with Joe Dudley. Y'all had to get on the same page, because Mr. Morrow and Joe Dudley, and the way that they had these particular relationships with platform artists, they had to get educated themselves. So they were not looked on, they were not called up and scouted because they had, 65,000 followers. No, they didn't give a shit about that. It was
Wait
like
a minute. Hold on.
it was like Motown. Okay, it was like Motown. They didn't give a damn about all of that craziness. Okay, what your skills to cut, your skills, your craft, your prowess, your character, your charisma, all of that. They didn't give a damn about who was following you, because at the end of the day, you came because they was following Joe Dudley. They was following the actual manufacturer. They was following Willie Morrow. They were following the Bronner. They didn't give a shit about your personal follower. They didn't even give a shit about that.
Wow.
You were there for the brand. And so it's just a different relationship at this point, because so now that era of hairstylists 40 years ago, that's why they were treated. Olive Benson was treated like a prima donna, honey. These ones now, shit, you show your ass up, get this class, get this, and boom, and okay, fine, you can maybe negotiate a little money, but at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about you.
Wow. Holy smokes.
I remember a friend in New York.
I'm gonna put my helmet on. I need to go get me a Planet Pluto Pseudo helmet.
Well, he was. I never forget in New York. I saw him in the subway. I think the Johnny Gentry, and he was just telling me in Harlem that he was for the Relaxed and Natural, right? In Pantene. Oh. They love to brag about whatever freaking brand they're working for. Anyway, and then I saw him about 2 weeks later. Do you know that this man was literally sick as a dog? Got to go to that photo shoot. And I just looked at him and I said, okay, well, let me take my black ass back home so I can get in my executive, because I can't do that in those streets. I don't all that luggage and shit, they don't care.
Wow. So we can see some of us, I think I don't have a filter on my screen here, but I think a portion of my career I've had rose-colored glasses on. Because Theo and Cheryl just crushed my little rose-colored glasses. And when you look at those platform artists, they really seem like they personify something that's hidden and that they want to share something. And if given the opportunity, because I'm thinking like you, Shan, that, they could just kind of move the masses along, because especially now with this big push of culture versus, like you said, economics. So we're going to hear another clip. Let me just show you guys his picture again, because we definitely want to give credit to the American famed historian, African-American historian, and that's going to be Professor Dr. John Henrik Clarke. And so I took the liberty to splice and dice a snippet of a lecture that he gave in Houston. I believe it was in the 1980s. I will drop the link in the chat after the live. So again, we're talking about Black culture versus Black wealth, because Cheryl just gave you the backdrop of what's going on. And I was thinking, like Sherry Ann Smith was thinking, that maybe the platform artists would be the people who could, but Theo and Cheryl.
Hey, Theo.
We have to do a whole other podcast on that, because I was not aware of that. So here we go. Here's a clip on culture versus wealth.
Now, what's important now? The bush or the medallion are those science textbooks, how to manage it in the future. All of these things has to be figured out and figured out by you. Because if you call your former master back to cure your child's stomach ache, he's going to re-enslave you based on your need for him.
If you call someone else to heal your child's stomach ache, he has re-indoctrinated you and introduced you to another form of slavery.
And we talked about that on Monday, was deactivating that Negro chip. I just kind of feel like this is why the history is so important. Because I like to consider myself. I ain't trying to be, Theo. I know I sent Theo a little something in the mail. So Theo, I ain't trying to brown nose, to my own horn. But Theo, I kind of thought I was kind of sophisticated. But y'all making me feel some kind of way. And I know you guys are not knocking anybody who wants to become a platform artist.
Oh, absolutely.
But that we have to think about that a little bit differently. In the context of how they are really not utilizing those platform artists on those platforms like they should, because we have this issue of culture versus wealth. And so you hear Dr. Clark saying, what's more important, the medallion? Are you more focused on the bush and the medallion, or what we can do? Because Cheryl just pointed out that's our issue. Why we just want the culture, we don't want the money? What's wrong with it?
Right.
So we can't be platform artists.
I do believe that the sensationalism that the cultural message focusing on the culture, focusing on how we do, what we do, when we do it, where we do it, what time we do it, the whole menagerie, the regalia, and what we wear and how we roll, those are very soft sciences. But to actually be able to commercialize, monetize, and productize the solving of our problem and getting paid to solve it is what the Lusters, the Brides, the Whites, the Broners, the Morrows, the Dudley, that's what they were talking about. That's what Manny Malone was talking about. Owning the remedy and the manufacturing of the remedy, the medicine, the every subsequent level of the industrial complex, because at the end of the day, as the great educator Barbara Sizemore would say, Black folks don't have that many problems that money can't solve. And whatever other subsequent problems we do have, it is about health and well-being. But it's consciousness that gets us there. But if we stay in the reactive, responsive, explosive cultural sensationalism part of our American experience called racism, and always creating the other so we can be polarized because we have some rage or we have some emotional feeling about being in this country and how we experience it, we're so locked there. We're not understanding that we are actually feeding the monster by not dealing with the hard science.
Right.
Trade of the soft science. Yeah.
So we can see that tough space. But like Shan said, and Theo, maybe you could just, we're still trying to, massage this out because I'm still feeling hopeful. But like Shan is saying in the chat, that these platform artists, they have the crowds. Couldn't they take advantage? And I'm not saying they just go, rogue into the show, like, well, while we here, like how Jay-Z did at the Grammys, talking about his wife and she had not won record of the year. I'm not saying that, but couldn't they use that platform? It's no capacity you guys don't see. We're just I'm stretching here, Theo. I'm just trying to keep hope alive. Is there any way that they could do that? I mean,
Well,
to, to move the needle.
They've already done it. They've already done it. And where did they move them? This is the social media subby follower influencer generation. Where did they move them? They moved them. They only moved them where their message could move them. Coming back confused and don't know anything more than they did when they left. So now here's the even more polarized, more confused, thus the birth of the relaxer issue. So now the conversation of the Crown Act not working. Doesn't work, people. So where did they move them? They moved them. They sensationalized them. They infused anger and strife and were just as ignited and explosive as ever. But yet, the information of the hard science that Dr. Henry Clark was talking about is such a void, because the hard sciences has instructions and tactics and strategies. But we don't do that because we emotionally want to move through life, because we're hurt. And if we keep staying hurt and using hurt as the conduit to do anything and to solve our problems, then therein lies the problem. We have to solve our problems in the Oz and Kansas of where we are. And that's, unfortunately, this is a capitalist society. So we have to use it with capital, funds, and finance, and money, and commerce, and privatization of brands. We have to be able to function in the marketplace. And we just refuse to do that because we want to stay cultural. And cultural sometimes just means that we just passively wear a fist on top of a comb made in China. Doesn't mean that. Fuck the symbolism, people. Fuck that soft shit. Get your ass. We got to know how to make combs. What does your comb say? If the shit don't say a black person's name that designed it, made it, then don't buy the shit. It's about a commitment. And that's those gentlemen in that photograph did the commitment. They set you up with your legacy. Now, you going to take it, or you're going to get over here and beg politicians and everybody to solve your problems? Miss Ladosha, did you get your ass up out of your house and get on that damn and testify and testimony and all that other shit and told the politicians what you needed? Damn, you don't have to pick cotton. You don't have to do any heavy lifting. Your foremothers and forefathers have already done it. But that's in the hard science.
Well, this is what Theo is in the chat. I'm almost, y'all know me, I'm ready to cry, right? Y'all know I'm always struggling. Y'all wait, no, I be therapy up these damn podcasts.
No, you actually do.
He said hard science requires dedication, desire, and determination. And I think
and most importantly, it requires the knowledge of the nature of your problem. It requires education. You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like something about education is just really, I have no idea of what's happening here. But I did play this clip before, and it was by none other than Neil Tyson deGrasse, or deGrasse Tyson, whatever. And so here's what he had to say about the risk of no scientific advancement. And I must play it again before we wrap this up. I just got to play it again so you guys can get the gist of what Cheryl and Theo, he's chatting, he's in the chat, is talking about when we talk about the dangers of this not learning, knowing, and applying the Afro hair history to move the industry forward into the new science into a new millennium of growth. And so this is what happens if we don't, use those hard sciences. Here it goes.
What we're about to do is morph the area of each country according to how much peer-reviewed science research is conducted in that country. So let's check out what happens when we do this. Well, the United States is sitting fat and pretty there, I'd say. What you want to look at is not how much science is going on, no. You want to look at the change in how much science is going on from the year 2000 to 2010. That's the trend line. That is the future of the world. Compare the difference in published research papers in all sciences, and you get this. Europe is even bigger. Japan is even bigger. China is huge. Africa is even smaller.
Yeah, guys. And the operative word and what he and Theo and Cheryl is talking about, guys, is change. It's gonna come. And she also pointed out that when we look at the picture, let me just put it back up, because sometimes us be forgetting, okay? When we look at the picture of her dad in the beige suit, and then we have the late great Dr. Joe Dudley Sr. With the blue suit on, and they've already, like she said, they've already did the hard work, the heavy lifting. What is so wrong, or what is so challenging, or so, I don't know, so cumbersome that we cannot, do the hard science now? It's time for us to do this and move this forward. But for some reason, this is very challenging for African American cosmetologists and hairstylists. This is something that's so is there a way, as we wrap this up, can we make it more palatable? I know we have the Bronner Brothers show coming up, but maybe is that a way, in addition to some other ways that we can?
Absolutely. I do think that the synergy between us, when we go so far wide with just focusing on being platform artists, one versus the other and one versus the other, and doing things like that, I think it makes us confuse ourselves, right? Agreed, Theo. And I do think that, my friend, he would say here in San Diego, the biggest gap that Afrocentric people face is a trust gap, and it makes us highly competitive when we deal with these platform artists, because they're very egocentric driven. We don't get anything at the end of the day. And I also would like to say that it's unfortunate that the heirs and children, the heirs of these particular dynastic companies, have not also guided us on what generational wealth is about. And culturally crying culturally only makes us do shit over that we don't need to do.
Wow, because your dad, I have a picture here. I don't know who this gentleman is.
That's the son that's Bernard Bronner.
Okay, so this is
the longest.
Okay, so this is your dad with, what's his name again?
Bernard Bronner.
So this is
the longest.
Okay. How did your father feel about participating or partaking in the Bronner Brothers show, as we talk about, because I know he was like, I got better things to do than going to some hair show. Because a lot of professionals, they just don't. I know Theo said education. But how did your father feel about having to participate in education over and over and over again, even attending the Bronner Brothers show, being a part of it?
It was coming home. It was the epicenter. It was our Mecca. This was our Mecca in Saudi Arabia. This This was our Mecca. This was our pilgrimage.
Well, they should have marketed like that, because it's funny you would say that. I have another picture. All right. She's not making this up, guys. We got receipts. Okay. Here's another good receipt. Now that's before that. This has been black and white.
Both brothers.
I bet you this.
You don't see Bronner brothers.
Them the two brothers?
Those are actually the two brothers.
Dude, Cheryl, you got good receipts here. Dude,
those are the actual Bronner brothers.
That's probably before the son even got here. Look at this, y'all.
Oh, no. Right.
Now look at that. This is the son. All right. This is the son right here. Okay, guys, with the white suit on. All right. Now, before he was even coming through. Okay.
Right. No, he wasn't running.
Look at this right here. He probably was a little baby. Look at this right here.
So his father is in the middle, and that's
his
uncle.
I hate to be petty, but does that say Sally's in the background?
Yes, we were working, and because they begged my dad, and my dad told them that he would bring black people back into Sally Beauty Supply Company. And that is when Mr. Morrow did the shock treatment to take the curl out to bring black people to Sally Beauty Supply Company. So black folks, you built the Sally that is now what Sally is today, because they begged Mr. Morrow because they were afraid of the Korean movement. And so Mr. Morrow brought Sally to you see it, it's proof. He brought Sally to the Bronner Brothers show that they had never participated in black hair care before, because they kept screaming and crying, Koreans gonna beat us. And so they called Mr. Morrow, and that's that Willie Morrow signature line that the first time they've ever had a hairstylist have a whole complete line, all the way from, he had his own blow dryers, his own curling irons, his own everything. And that is Gene Atkinson in the middle.
Right here?
Stage, the platform artist.
Oh, wow.
That is the great. Yeah, she was huge when Olive Benson was huge.
My. We're talking about the 80s, right?
Yeah, that's the 80s.
All right. So this is before
the actual Bronner Brothers. You don't ever see them.
All right, and then here it is, okay?
That's
you guys see the receipts. Here's the air, okay? All right, and then this is the dad now. Like she said, they're doing their part, and I didn't even know that they're. Oh man, listen here and see. I don't even know that. Okay, so anywho, guys, get your education. You cannot just keep sitting on these licenses. Theo just dropped it in the chat. Education. If affordability is the issue, then Cheryl has a wonderful, wonderful friend who I'm just going to claim him as my friend too. He's sexy like Teddy Pendergrass, but he is a legitimate licensed cosmetologist in the greater Atlanta area. His name is Jackie D. He is the founder of Beauty Care Professionals of America. He wants us all to become members, to offer so much more than just, another, tag or something, but just, to have a community for both the professionals and the consumers that's going to help you, with your beauty care needs. So again, you're going to visit bcpausa.com. And Cheryl and I, we gave them our words that we would definitely be supporting their cause. So go and check them out. Become a member if you're in the public. It's free for the students. I think they said they had a low cost of that, and also you get a discount.
$39.99.
All right, they said Bronner Brothers had even offer that kind of discount. So education. I gotta put Theo. Let me just put that up here again. There you go. Here we go. He said education. He said, but watch out now, because the trade shows has the ability to mislead, but you still got to get there and get the education so that you can decipher.
If we take the Theo Garfield tour to the Bronner brother and you hang out with him, he gonna take you to the spots, to the booths. He gonna tell you what to do and what not to do. So we even have to have trade show mentors, so you can take the tours with, just like they do tours with to Africa. You got to go with a certain person. I truly believe that you do need a show guide, to make sure that you definitely get the education and the things that you need. So we're on the rise.
All right, it's just that simple. This has been absolutely mighty and powerful. We definitely, we cannot say enough about the legendary Dr. Joe Dudley Sr., who,
Well job, Mr. Dudley. Well
yeah,
job. Well done. Well done.
yes, rest in power. We're gonna miss you, and Cheryl and I, we're gonna do our part. Theo is gonna make sure if he had to pluck every fake piece of color out of my hair, Dr. Dudley, Theo's gonna make sure that I understand education, education,
Education.
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 So we're gonna do right by you, and also we like to give a big hug and love to
To
our
another
wonderful,
ancestor.
yes, Dr. John Henry Clark, who I am going to drop that link in the chat, and then also to the wonderful, I didn't
Oh,
even know,
absolutely.
the wonderful
All four of those
Dr.
great ancestors now.
Yes, so we got Dr. Willie Morrow. We have the two Bronner brothers and Dr. Joe Dudley Sr. This has been definitely a fascinating and wonderful podcast. We appreciate you guys so much. Our next two podcasts are going to be thebomb.com. We're going to be talking about the braiding do's and don'ts on the dumbest shit that people say about black hairs and damn braids. We're going to confront this whole leaving them in for 6 months and 3 months. It's still got to cut this shit out. Okay.
And then if you all have any mentees who are students, we've got, so you want to, think you can do
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah, right. I'm running on down. So we're gonna talk about that. And then also we got the future of braids and locks and twists. So that's what's gonna happen. And then I'm gonna just show you our little clip because we do have a new podcast that's on Monday afternoons, specifically for licensed barbers and cosmetology students. Okay,
Yeah.
teachers and school owners. And so I'm trying to find a little. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. My phone's been kind of bugging. Hold on, I gotta pull hers up. I don't know. I'm just kind of over this iPhone. Hold on, I'm gonna find it here. Wait 1 second here. Of course, I have about like 5,000 messages here. But anywho, I can't find it right now. So anywho, so here we go. Let me just play a little commercial. All right, hold on. We got a cool commercial. Now I put this together. Cheryl, you can tell when I put something together and when Cheryl put something together. But it's okay now. It's okay because we do have here it is right here. Our podcast for our students. Here we go. So, you think you can do hair? Then join us every Monday at 12 o'clock on the Afro Hair Science YouTube channel. All right, and so that's brought to you by our lovely intern, Miss Samaria Smith. And so we're going to be on Monday at 12 o'clock. Please join the chat. If you know a cosmetology student, school, whatever, make sure they tune in. And then we're going to be here that evening on the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. And then we'll be back here on Thursday talking about the future. Don't forget to please visit bcpausa.com. Get your membership. Tell them that Cheryl and Ladosha sent you on over. It's a wonderful website. And remember, it's absolutely free to the public. Students get a discount, and licensed professionals is only $100, and you get all types of cool stuff. All right, Cheryl. Any closing thoughts on this whole past, future?
Future is
history.
bright, and let's just make sure that we could really reignite our trust, because that's what's going to take, trust in each other. And then Ladosha, go get well.
All right. I'm going to do that. I ran out of Kleenex. So I got my toilet paper.
Go get well.
And
Go
I
to
got there
bed.
you go. All right. You know what we say when we're always signing out, right? Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. Good night.